Modding Skyrim gets better and better every single year, and I guarantee that 2026 will be no different. That's why it's important we stay up to date with some of the best mods that are being released each and every year. In this video, we will go over my most essential Skyrim mods from several different categories that you should be using in 2026 and beyond. There is a lot to get through and I don't want to waste your time, so let's jump right in, starting with some visual mods. And the first one I want to cover is called Tomato Landscapes All-in-One, which will completely overhaul each and every Skyrim landscape, including all DLCs, with some stunning high-definition textures. This is, in my opinion, the best landscape overhaul Skyrim modding can offer, and also comes with the Parallax material effect, so you get that nice 3D appearance to make your landscapes really pop. This mod is so good, in fact, you will often find yourself just sitting back, admiring the dirt and how good it looks. A mod that then complements these landscapes really well is the Temple of the Ancients mod that reimagines the Nordic ruins spotted around the map with high quality and unique textures. Each Nordic dungeon now feels and looks amazing as if it has been lying in ruins for centuries. There are also optional ancient symbols that you can add to all the walls, making it stand out and is a detail that I love. Another mod that revitalizes Skyrim architecture is called Stony AF, which will overhaul the stone buildings found in Markarth and the Dwemer ruins throughout the world. This mod is a stunning retexture that emphasizes the stone carvings and makes each area feel unique and more detailed. I also think that mods like this one and the previous that solely focus on a specific area are almost always better than other mods trying to do too much. In a very similar way, we also have the new Medieval Solitude mod that remasters the city of Solitude into a lively, beautiful capital city. This mod has only been out for a few weeks, but has already become one of my favorites. From the terracotta roof tiles to the cobbled streets below, every detail of this city has been transformed into a piece of art and feels amazing to explore. Another small but incredible visual mod is simply called Dust by FrankBlack, which redesigns the dust you see inside buildings when hit by sunlight. This change is simply incredible, giving rise to more obvious rays of sunshine throughout the day and creates some truly breathtaking interior visuals, especially when in combination with other lighting mods such as Lux or Dial. Moving on, we have a few world building mods, starting with a perfect example called Daedric Shrines All-in-One. This mod adds or replaces all 16 Daedric lords with a beautiful new statue to admire and serve. Each and every design is fantastic, as well as lore friendly, and will give you a reason to explore the map or provide a surprise when you come across each one. These are visual only, but there are some patches available for religion overhauls if you would like to receive a blessing from each shrine when you visit them. Another World Edition mod that stretches across all 5 major cities is simply called City Trees. Now this mod has been a staple in my mod list for a long time, simply because of what it adds to your game. As you would assume, it adds trees and flora to each city, but also includes extra clutter such as transported goods, statues, or the option to expand the farms outside. But what I love most about this mod is the modular installation that allows you to pick and choose exactly what component you want and don't want. For example, you can choose to have no trees, a few trees, or many trees in each city. This approach extends to the clutter and additional objects as well, even making it so you can choose if the extra flowers can be harvested for ingredients or not. My personal recommendation is to pick the reduce trees option as well as the extra clutter items, but to disable the farm add-ons because they don't look particularly great and are also a compatibility nightmare with other mods. Of course, each option is ultimately up to you. Now let's take a look at some interface and UI mods, and one that I can't play without is called TrueHUD, which integrates several new features into Skyrim, including Acto Info bars, which are the floating stat bars you see above other NPCs, new boss bars when you encounter a boss-like enemy, and a player widget which offers a modern display for your health, magicka, and stamina bars. All of these features are also highly customizable through an extensive MCM where you can edit the size, location, and colors of each aspect separately. There are also many reskin mods that will change the appearance of each component depending on what you like. Another mod that goes hand in hand with TrueHUD is called STB Widgets. This mod adds several pieces of player information to your heads-up display, including your resistances, your currently equipped items or spells, your current level, as well as small indicators of game time, total gold, and inventory weight. Each widget can also be moved, expanded, or disabled through an intuitive in-game UI, so you can tailor your heads-up display to exactly how you want. An absolute must-have interface mod is called QuickLoot IE, which is both a fantastic quality of life addition and UI mod all rolled into one. Essentially, this mod lets you loot containers by just looking at them, rather than having to interact with and go into your inventory. This has the benefit of speeding up the looting process and makes your gameplay feel and run a lot smoother. To finish off the interface section, we have the impressive mod called the Dragonborn's Bestiary. This mod implements a novel idea by introducing a bestiary of all the animals and creatures you come across in your adventures of Skyrim. What this means is when you interact with a creature such as a giant or a spider, it will get added to your bestiary. Once added, it will give you a short description as well as its strengths and weaknesses and what loot you can obtain from said creature. This is a fantastic mod that fits perfectly with the world of Skyrim, adding another layer of depth for you to interact with. The feeling of exploring and finding new entries to add to your bestiary is second to none and serves as a great resource providing valuable information throughout your playthrough. There are also countless add-ons for other mods to include unique enemies and bosses, or even your armors and weapons. A complete and polished mod that's not only one of the best for 2026, but one of the best ever made. Now let's take a look at some quality of life additions, and one of the most important is the mod known as SmoothCam. This mod very simply allows you to adjust nearly every aspect of the third-person camera, which wasn't great in vanilla Skyrim to begin with. All of these settings are adjustable in a comprehensive MCM, but if you'd rather not adjust each setting yourself, there are also a large number of SmoothCam presets available, including my very own, which I will link down below. Up next is the Essential Favorites mod, which very simply prevents your favorited items from being sold, disarmed, or lost. A mod that complements this perfectly is also the Favorite Misc Items mod, which lets you favorite any item you want. Together, these two mods will allow you to keep any item you want safe inside your inventory without having to worry if you accidentally sell or lose one of them. Remember Lockpick Angle is another fantastic mod that remembers the angle at which your lockpick broke rather than resetting back to the default position. This does make locks a touch easier to pick, but does make sense as you wouldn't suddenly forget where you had your lockpick in the first place. A very simple yet great change that makes your life as a thief a little bit easier. Then we have the mod that blurs the line between quality of life and immersion called Dynamic Things Alternative. Basically, this mod lets you loot ingredients from static items, something that you could never do before. For example, you can now loot the tusk from a skull of a mammoth lying on the ground, or any items you find hanging on the wall. This is fantastic for obtaining several ingredients and just makes sense in game. Of course, be careful, as more often than not this will be classed as stealing. Sticking with immersion, we have the masterpiece of a mod called Immersive Equipment Displays, which allows you to showcase unequipped items on your character or other NPCs. This mod is highly configurable with an in-game UI that lets you adjust the position and/or location of each piece of equipment separately. For example, you can make it so one-handed weapons will be displayed on your back rather than on your belt or vice versa. You can also add physics to each item, so they jiggle around with your character as you move, adding yet another layer of immersion to your game. Up next, we have the collection of line expansion mods by Jay Serper that add new lines and reactions to certain NPCs in the game. These include bandits, the Forsworn, Civil War soldiers, and many more, bringing new life to Skyrim as you get treated to unique and often funny dialogue options instead of hearing the same lines repeated over and over again. Each new line has also been spliced together from original dialogue, so the delivery feels natural and not too out of place. A very well executed and highly recommended collection of mods. In regards to audio, Clofas has been releasing a series of ambient sound mods that places new audio to certain areas and locations around Skyrim. For example, the Wildwood Echoes mod adds the sound of trees and wildlife to forests around Skyrim. Or the Whispers of the Daedric Princes adds dark airy whispers to the Daedric statues found around the world. There are many other additions, including distant dragon roars, harsh Nordic wind, or more subtle additions such as the background talking in cities, or the distant sound of war drums and battle cries as the civil war of Skyrim rages on. Each new addition adds something unique that will really bring your game to life and increase the level of immersion when playing. Up next are a few mods about enhancing Skyrim magic, and my most essential spell mod is the classic Forgotten Magic Redone, which like many other magic mods adds several new spells to the game, but also has the bonus feature of introducing a progression system on top of that. How this works is as you cast one of the Forgotten Magic spells, you gain experience and eventually a perk point, which can then be used to upgrade that spell, adding a unique effect. All of this is done within an MCM where you can see each spell and what perks you can choose to upgrade. For example, the Wolfpack Conjuration can be upgraded to inflict bleed damage, critical hits, or even turn invisible. This fantastic concept allows you to progress through the game with several of your favourite spells and then upgrade them alongside your character. Another magic mod that I cannot play without is called Frozen Electrocuted Combustion, which adds on-death effects to enemies you kill with your spells. For example, corpses will burn into a toasty block of charcoal when killed by fire magic, become a frozen block of ice, and even shatter when killed by frost magic, and become electrocuted featuring spasms when killed by lightning magic. This mod is visual only, but fantastic nonetheless. The third magic related mod is the new first person spell animations from the Sigma mod series. These animations cover everything magic related when in first person, including idle, equip and unequip, dual casting, as well as unique casting animations for every school of magic. This combines to create an entirely new first person experience when wielding spells. Each new animation feels natural with nothing too over the top or flashy, delivering some much needed upgraded mage gameplay. The next mod is a companion that I want to highlight called Gore. This mod features a complete standalone follower named Gore, who starts off as a two-handed warrior being hunted by the Thalma. Gore has all the features you would expect when it comes to follower mods, but most importantly, he has an interesting backstory, some very good voice acting, and an engaging personality that will comment on your adventure, often sprinkled with a funny one-liner. Followers are very subjective on what you like and don't like, but if you haven't tried Gore before, I highly suggest you do. When it comes to enemy NPC mods, I can't go past one of my favourites, known as the Restless Dead, which completely overhauls the Draugr enemies within Skyrim. The first thing you'll notice is they all look and feel more unique. Both Draugr and skeleton enemies will feature more diverse visuals with new models, armors, and a missing limb or two. On top of that, Draugr enemies will have various classes with new combat styles as well as access to a larger range of spells, shouts and weapons, making them much more formidable to come up against. Certain dungeons will also be populated by different types of undead. For example, where one tomb may have dragon cult warriors, another will just have your standard ancient undead Nords. Unique boss type enemies have also been overhauled, and new bosses have been placed in dungeons where there were none before, creating a completely new dungeon experience. Altogether, this mod will make Nordic ruins feel more alive and exciting to explore again. Now let's turn our attention to some gameplay mods, and to start is my favourite Skyrim mod of all time, called Experience. This mod will overhaul how your character gains experience by decoupling your overall character level from your skills, and instead gives you experience by just playing the game. Actions such as completing a quest, clearing a dungeon, discovering a new location, or simply killing an enemy or two will all net you a varying amount of XP. This removes the over-reliance on having to level your skills, and instead allows you to just play the game, emphasizing the need to go out exploring into the world and complete a quest or clear out a Nordic ruin. I also highly recommend getting the Experience MCM, which will allow you to adjust the XP values of certain actions to whatever you want, or completely disable them if you wish. The next gameplay mod is called Biggie Traits, which adds a series of character-defining traits for you to choose from. When you first begin a new game, you will be presented with a list of over 30 traits. From this list, you can choose up to 2, meaning you can also select only 1 or none if you wish. Each trait has been designed to create new and fun playstyles for you to try. For example, the Bulwark will give you increased armor rating and reflect damage back at the attacker. Fast Shot will increase the speed you can draw your bow but reduce the overall damage. Or the Lurker, which will greatly increase your sneak damage but only if you're wearing no clothing. Most traits come with a positive and negative effect, making each one feel unique and providing a vast variety of ways for you to play Skyrim how you want. Up next are some movement mods, and to start is one that has quickly become one of my favourites, called the Phantom Horse. This mod lets you summon a horse as you sprint, similar to a few other modern games, and move at a much faster pace. The summoned horse is solely for movement, as it despawns when you stop sprinting. For me, I found this mod incredibly convenient, not having to look for your lost or dead horse and letting you traverse the landscape with ease. It is also the sole reason that I have started using the horse more than I ever have before. Then we have two absolute must-have movement mods, starting with True Directional Movement, which detaches the camera from your character and gives you full 360-degree movement, similar to many modern games, instead of having the camera locked behind your back. This is just a massive improvement over vanilla Skyrim and has single-handedly revolutionized third-person gameplay. There are also some secondary features, such as improved horseback gameplay or the ability to lock onto your target in combat, which can help a lot with ranged weapons or spells. It also comes with an extensive MCM where you can edit or adjust each setting as you like. The other must-have movement mod is the classic better jumping, which most importantly allows you to jump while you sprint, something you couldn't do in vanilla Skyrim. There are also some other features, like the option to perform a double jump or adjust your jump height, but these are optional if you don't want to use them. Altogether, this mod is simply a requirement for any modded Skyrim, allowing you to jump as it always should have been. To finish off movement, we have the Skyrim Parkour mod, which adds the ability for you to climb and clamber your way up mountains, over buildings, or anything else you may come across. Inspired by Assassin's Creed, this new way of traversing Skyrim really opens up the world, allowing you to get to areas you may never have gotten to before with an increased sense of freedom. Skyrim Parkour works both in first person and third person with complete animations, meaning you can parkour whichever way you like. There are also several settings you can adjust, such as the activation key, which is by default the jump key, or how much stamina it costs to climb. Overall, this is a fantastic mod that is incredibly intuitive and fun to use as you traverse your way around Skyrim. Now let's take a look at some combat mods, and firstly I want to include the Attack MCO and BFCO mods that have revolutionized third-person combat. Both of these mods have very similar features that implement a framework that allows for complex attack animations and the ability to chain these attacks together to create powerful attack combos. Over the last few years, there have been hundreds of attack animation movesets, and all of them would not have been possible without this modern combat overhaul. Truly a set of game-changing mods that have transformed third-person gameplay into something it has never been before. Whether you want Dark Souls, Elden Ring, or For Honor, all of these are now possible with this framework. Blocking is another important aspect of Skyrim, and the combination of the Maxu block overhaul and dynamic block hit mods create a perfect blocking system where you and NPCs will react differently to certain attacks. How it works is when blocking a normal attack, your character will flinch from the impact, a power attack will cause you to stagger a little bit more, and if you're under 30% health or stamina, blocking a power attack will send you back onto your knees. This framework has added another layer to Skyrim combat by punishing the blocker, and in my opinion provides a balanced stagger system that doesn't become too overbearing. Up next is a combat mod that has quickly become one of my favorites called Dismembering Framework. This mod allows you to not only behead your enemies but dismember their arms and legs as well, single-handedly making combat feel more violent and visceral to experience as you literally slice through your enemies. This mod also comes with an MCM where you can adjust how each weapon you wield has a chance at loosening a limb. For example, by default, a two-handed sword is more likely than a one-handed axe, but you can, if you want, edit these values so each weapon does exactly what you want, or if you think it's happening too often or not enough. Overall, this mod creates a more impactful and unique combat experience, bringing brand new effects to Skyrim gameplay. Now let's move on to a couple of quest mods, and up first is the brilliant new mod called Why I Came to Skyrim, which adds an origin story for your character. Essentially how it works is you interact with the Book of Origins, which will then give you one of 40 random origin quests. Each quest has its own unique flavor. For example, your family was slain by a bunch of Forsworn, and now you need to avenge them. Once you have completed the origin quest, you will receive a small buff that was related to the quest you completed, such as 10% more damage against bandits. Also, if you don't like the origin quest that you received, you can simply interact with the book again to get another. Altogether, this is a fantastic way to give your character some more backstory and a reason why they are traveling through Skyrim. The next quest mod is one of my favorites called Siren Route, which will have you diving deep underwater to search a lost ruin. As you navigate through the dungeon, you will encounter puzzles, platforming, and a series of undead enemies, as well as several dialogue choices that will impact the overall outcome of the quest. This mod is incredibly polished, with beautiful locations to explore, meaningful NPCs to interact with, and well-designed puzzles that will have you climbing, diving, and thinking about trying to solve. It very much reminds me of the Tomb Raider games and how you, the player, interacts with level design and visual cues. The length of the quest is also only 4 to 5 hours, which means it doesn't overstay its welcome and feels perfectly fit for the world of Skyrim. For the last section, I want to go over armor and weaponry, and for this, all you need is the Sentinel Equipment Overhaul mod, which adds a vast collection of new armor and weapons to your game, but also integrates them into the leveled items and NPC equipment. This means not only can you craft each new armor and weapon, but you can also loot them as you explore the world, and other NPCs will also be wearing these new armors as well. Most notably is the Bandit faction, who you will find wearing a huge collection of new and different armor sets. All of this adds a ton of variety to your game, but there are also a bunch of add-ons for other modded armor that you can integrate into the Sentinel system as well. You can also grab the Grimoire add-on, which will integrate enchanted variants of the Sentinel armors into your game as well, expanding the variety and level of loot even further. And that's it for my comprehensive list of must-have Skyrim mods for 2026. Thank you for watching, please like the video if you enjoyed, and I will see you again soon. Happy New Year, everyone!